Don't you love kind people? I sure do, and I would define myself as a kind girl. I would also define myself as a kind girl that used to have a bullseye on her forehead. Let me explain. When I think of a kind girl or a kind person, I'm thinking of 5 things. They're thoughtful of others, they're pretty easygoing, they're caring, they believe the best in others, and they have good character. That all sounds so wonderful and positive. The challenge is the flip side of the hand of each of those attributes. For example, thoughtful of others. The flip side is that they tend to be outwardly focused and not very good at taking care of themselves. Pretty easygoing. The flip side of that is they tend to overgive and have unbalanced relationships, not a strong sense of self, and they don't tend to advocate for their own thoughts and feelings. The third thing, caring. Sounds great. The flip side is they tend to overgive in relationships. They tend to want to fix others' problems. Number 4, believing the best in others. The flip side of that is justifying bad behavior and tolerating that. Good character. That sounds fabulous. Number 5. The flip side of that is because they're not used to lying or manipulation, they don't realize that there's a lot of that around, and that can create a problem. Because of the flip side of each of those positive attributes, it can lead to a bullseye on the forehead. And what that means is they're a natural target for relationships with selfish people or more on the narcissistic scale. And that's a natural toxic attraction. They are usually opposite of, the people that are attracted to us are usually the opposite of us in that they are usually very self-assured, very stable seeming, and have characteristics that we would not naturally identify as far as manipulation and lying and a difference in power and control, and that sets things up for dysfunction. I like the verse in the Bible that says a man left to himself is going to sin. And when you don't have equal relationships of power and control, then that's a person left to themselves, and that can create havoc. But let's talk about the kind girls with the bullseye. So let's talk about myself as a previous kind girl that was lacking healthy boundaries with self and others. So what happened is, being in a 22-year destructive relationship and me being a kind girl with that bullseye really set me up and basically led to 2 psych ward visits and having some mental and physical health problems, and led to like a spiral down. And it wasn't pretty, wasn't good. If you want to learn more about my story, you can listen to episode 1 and 2. Another story I wanted to share was this gal, and I'll call her Claire. And it was a pastor's daughter of the church I'd been going to for quite a while. She gave my daughter violin lessons, and she was just the sweetest, most kind, selfless person. And basically, I hadn't seen her for a while, and basically I had heard that, things weren't going well, and she had a child, and it just was a challenging thing. And so I ran into Claire, and I'm like, Claire, what was the challenge? What's going on? And she says, I did not realize that there are bad people in the world. And what happened is she got involved in a relationship that, of course, at first seemed amazing and wonderful. The typical love bombing that seems to happen to us kind girls. And then there was gaslighting where she was being manipulated. But because she was so much of a kind girl that lacked her own boundaries, with herself and others, she got in a very destructive relationship where she was being put in a closet and locked in a closet, and it was very destructive to her. And so eventually, she got out of it, but there was a lot of hurt and pain from all of that, and then just kind of a spiral of bad relationships and a spiritual challenge when she really felt like God let her down when she was doing the right thing, sort of thing. So it was very challenging. I have to say, in my own experience being in the psych ward, and gosh, I wish I didn't remember it so well, but I actually do. But the people there, like I would say, the kind girl, the kind person persona was the people that were there. I mean, the very kind, most caring people that were having all sorts, whether it was depression or anxiety or a schizoaffective disorder or whatever they were experiencing. But they would tell me stories of just the torment and the pressure and the pain that they were going through. And it really showed me, it's like, oh my goodness, these people here are some of the kindest, most loving people, and they all lack boundaries. And I had better perspective, obviously, when I got out of that, because I'm like, oh, I was definitely one of them. And I lacked boundaries with myself, and I lacked boundaries with others. I didn't have my own back, and that's what these guys didn't as well. Are you finding yourself constantly pouring your energy into relationships, leaving you drained and unfulfilled? Do you feel like you're going through the motions of life and have somehow lost yourself? The Unravel Notebook offers a transformative journey to break free from those exhausting patterns. The guided prompts are designed to reconnect you with your inner self, strengthen your relationship with God, and foster healthier connections with others. The Unravel Notebook will help you identify and overcome old patterns, paving the way to a brighter, more intimate life. The Unravel Notebook journey for me, I took as an overly kind person in a destructive relationship for 22 years and transformed me into a now thriving business owner with a fabulous marriage. Start your journey to live brighter today. Order the Unravel Notebook on Amazon. How do we diminish this Kind Girl Bullseye right in the middle of our foreheads? Let's talk about it. There's 3 things I would say. First and most important is learning to love ourselves. That means like caring for our priorities and prioritizing ourselves, respecting our opinions, listening to our gut. There is so much wisdom, within our subconscious and within our gut and from the Holy Spirit, that learning to go inwardly focused and focus on that is so healthy and gives us so much information. I definitely got some pushback from family that is selfish, prioritizing yourself. But like I've mentioned before, God tells us in the Bible that we're supposed to love others as we love ourselves. And so we do need to love ourselves and prioritize ourselves, because first thing God gave our spirits was us, and we're responsible to take care of that. Body, mind, and spirit. So a good tree, I always think of the thing, a good tree will bear good fruit. So when you're nurturing your tree, and you're a good person, no matter if you're nurturing your tree and going inwardly focused, you still have good fruit. It's not selfish, and it is self-care. The second thing is boundaries. Not just boundaries with others, but starting with boundaries with self. That means just knowing where you stop and another person begins. What is on your side of the street? What is on other side of the street? Having those boundaries are super helpful. And I could talk about boundaries all day, but that's all I'm going to say about that for today. The third one is making sure our closest relationships are equal in power and control. Anytime there's an unbalance of power and control, there's definitely an opportunity for destructiveness and abuse and all sorts of horrible things. That doesn't mean that we can't help others and serve others, and it's not necessarily an equal relationship, but our closest people to us, it needs to be equal in power and control. I am so tired of attracting selfish, narcissistic relationships. It's exhausting. Even in my workplace, I find that people want to take advantage of my time and energy, and I don't even get it. And friendships are a little bit that way too. What? What are you staring at? Do I have a zit on my face? What? I have a bullseye on my forehead? You mean I'm part of the problem and I'm attracting this myself? That's terrible. If you would like to sign up for the free Kind Girl Bullseye quiz, click the link, and you'll find out how big your bullseye is for attracting those kind of relationships and how to make it smaller. Have you ever spiraled down because of the damage of being a kind girl? I have, and that's okay. It's easy to do, but learning to use your kindness as a strength is a superpower. And that starts with just forgiving yourselves for the spiral of that being a kind girl and then going out into the world and having these destructive relationships can cause, and working through that. One way I worked through that was the Unravel Notebook, and that's why I created it. It's a way to unravel our mind and really bring that kind girl persona in a healthy, balanced, beautiful manner. So grow 1%. I believe in you, and let your light shine brighter. Have a good day.